When you hear the name Carl Jung, don't just picture a psychologist in a stuffy office. Think of him more like an explorer, a cartographer who created a revolutionary map, a map of the human soul. Today, we're going to follow that map. So let's start with a huge question, one that really obsessed Jung. Why is it that everywhere you look, throughout all of human history, you find the same stories? The hero who goes on a quest, the wise old mentor, the trickster god. They pop up in ancient myths, in fairy tales, and weirdly enough, even in our own dreams. What's going on there?
Well, Jung's answer was pretty mind-blowing. He said these aren't just random coincidences. They're echoes. They are messages from a deep, ancient part of you that we all share. So, together, we're going to explore his map of that inner world and figure out what those messages mean for us today.
Now, to really understand Jung's map, we first have to talk about the man who drew the original one, his famous mentor, and later his famous rival, Sigmund Freud.
This right here is the fundamental split between them. See, Freud was like a detective. He always looked backward, trying to trace every problem back to some cause in the past, usually some childhood trauma. But Jung was different. He looked forward. He didn't just ask, why did this happen? He asked, where is this trying to go? What's the purpose? For Jung, a psychological symptom wasn't just a wound. It could actually be a signpost pointing you toward growth.
And their disagreements ran deep. Take libido. For Freud, it was pretty much all about sexual energy. Jung said, no, it's way bigger than that. It's your total life force, your creative and spiritual energy, the whole shebang. Then there's the unconscious. Freud saw it as your own personal basement, where you shove all your repressed memories. Jung saw that, yeah, but he also saw a much deeper universal basement underneath it that connects all of us. And dreams? For Freud, they were sneaky wish fulfillment. For Jung, they were honest messages from your soul trying to get your attention. These weren't small quibbles. This is what led to their big breakup in 1913.
All right, so with Freud in the rearview mirror, Jung starts charting his own course. Let's take a journey into his model of the mind, starting from the surface and going deeper and deeper.
First up is the ego. This is the part you're most familiar with. It's the I you think of when you say I. It's the CEO of your personality, the command center that manages your day-to-day life and gives you a sense of who you are. Now, right beneath the surface is the personal unconscious. This layer is unique to you. Think of it as your personal storage unit for everything you've forgotten, ignored, or pushed away. It's also where you find what Jung called complexes, those little emotional hotspots that can hijack your behavior out of nowhere. And this is where we get to Jung's most radical, game-changing idea, the collective unconscious. This is the deepest layer of all. It isn't yours, it's ours. It's a kind of psychic blueprint for humanity that we're all born with, filled with universal patterns and instincts that our species has gathered over millions of years. He called these patterns archetypes. So if the collective unconscious is like a vast, ancient stage, who are the actors? Well, that's where the archetypes come in. Think of them as the cast of inner characters that live inside every single one of us. Let's meet the main players. First, you've got the persona. The name literally comes from the masks worn by actors in ancient Greece. It's your social mask, your professional self, your polite at party self, your carefully curated social media self. We all need one to function. But Jung warned it's really dangerous if you start to believe the mask is your actual face. Next, we meet the shadow. This is everything about yourself that you've rejected, the stuff you've pushed down into the darkness because you decided it was unacceptable. But here's the key. The shadow isn't necessarily evil. It's just primitive. It's where your raw instinct, your vitality, and a ton of creative energy are hiding. So how do you even know what's in your shadow? Jung said it's simple. Look at the things in other people that make you irrationally angry. It's a process called projection. You take a part of yourself you can't stand, you repress it, and then you start seeing it everywhere in other people and judging them for it. It's a huge clue. Then you have the anima and animus. These are the inner contrasexual figures. For a man, the anima is the embodiment of his inner feminine qualities. For a woman, the animus is the embodiment of her inner masculine qualities. The idea here isn't about stereotypes. It's about achieving inner balance by connecting with this powerful internal other half. Okay, so you've got all these characters running around inside you, a persona, a shadow, an anima or animus. What's the point of all this? Well, the goal isn't to have them fight it out. The goal is to get them all talking to each other.
And that process is the central quest of a human life. Jung called this quest individuation. It's the lifelong journey of becoming the person you were always meant to be. It means having the courage to face your shadow, to understand your social mask, and to integrate all these disparate parts of yourself. And Jung was always clear, the goal is not perfection, it's wholeness.
So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, this is a lot and maybe a little mystical, but you would be absolutely shocked at how much Jung's ideas have secretly influenced our modern world.
I mean, ever heard of the hero's journey? That framework, used for basically every blockbuster from Star Wars to The Matrix, is just a narrative version of Jung's process of individuation. That Myers-Briggs personality test that everyone takes, it's based directly on Jung's theories. He even wrote a whole book analyzing UFO sightings as a kind of modern myth, our collective psyche projecting the need for wholeness into the sky. For a long time, mainstream science kind of dismissed these ideas as unprovable, as being too esoteric. But here's the really cool part. Modern neuroscience is actually starting to find evidence for Jung's map right inside the wiring of our brains.
This is fascinating. Recent research suggests that archetypes might just be the brain's efficient way of organizing millions of years of experience. The raw, instinctual archetype might be encoded in deep brain structures, like the hypothalamus. The images we see in dreams, that could be our visual cortex giving form to those instincts. And the stories we build around them, that could be our brain's default mode network at work. It turns out these mystical ideas might be deeply biological.
Which brings us back to one of Jung's most powerful quotes. This journey into the inner world, it's not just some intellectual exercise. It's about taking the steering wheel of your own life. It's about writing your own story instead of letting your unconscious patterns write it for you.
So we'll leave you with a question Jung himself might have asked you. What about your unlived life? The dreams you've abandoned, the passions you ignore, the things that make you angry for reasons you can't explain. What are they all trying to tell you?